Hello everyone, welcome back to the Junkyard and welcome to the first ever Q&A video on this channel. Thank you, because there are quite a few new faces on this channel watching and I feel so lucky. I asked you guys for help and you didn't disappoint. I have got a mixture of funny and serious questions to look through. I'm going to start off with a quick and easy one. Dan says, hello Dan by the way, why do you have the best hair in the galaxy? That's very kind of you, Dan. I actually get my locks from my mum. She has got wonderful hair. Nightwing! Hello Nightwing, I hope you're doing well buddy. He says, hey Ezra, question. How have you built up your level of confidence in life, both in your day-to-day work life on your YouTube channel too, and also in your relationship with Eve as well? Example, learning how to take that step to be confident enough to open up to each other. Good question, Nightwing. I would say confidence is something I developed with age. I wasn't very confident growing up at all. In fact, in secondary school, I was as quiet as a mouse. I didn't have any confidence whatsoever. My voice took ages to break for some reason, so I was stuck in between with like a really croaky voice, which just made me not want to speak to people in case they took the mick out of me. On top of that, I hated my name. I hated that I was called Ezra. I just wanted a normal name. And I got teased relentlessly about my name. So when it came to meeting new people, I didn't want to be like, hi, I'm Ezra, nice to meet you. So I just avoided it at all costs. It wasn't actually until I was about 18 that I loved my name and I realised it's cool to be different. I would say the bulk of my confidence came when I started my photography job 8 years ago, and it's the job I still have now. For those of you who don't know, I take photos of beautiful homes around Surrey. And when I first started that job, I was incredibly shy and anxious. And I was meeting new people every single day. And on top of that, I'm in their house. It doesn't get more intimidating than that. Not only are you in people's homes, but these people might be going through a death in the family, divorce. You might even be meeting a tenant who's moving against their will. Like, you're having tricky conversations and meeting people at the most stressful of times. The more people I met and the more conversations I had, the more confident I grew. So my advice to you, Nightwing, or anyone else watching this video, is to try and push yourself out of your comfort zone just a little bit. Held my hand up for too long there, didn't I? Push yourself just a little bit, and once you realise you can beat the task that you've set yourself, you'll think, oh wow, I did that, and it will just gradually become the norm and it won't even be a thing to you anymore. And then over time you'll find yourself just growing as a person and in confidence, and it's going to feel great. I would also recommend exercising, because for me personally it completely changed my life. Even if it's just a walk around the block, getting that fresh air, seeing the world, it does your confidence the world of good. Like, you've completed something today, you've done a task, it feels great. So yeah, for me, exercise changed my life. I stand up taller, I look people in the eyes more. I know right now I'm doing everything I can to look my best, and in turn that really helps mentally for me as well. Which leads me nicely onto the last part of your question about opening up to Eve and being in a relationship. I'm rubbish at that, Nightwing. I'm not able to answer that very well at all. Like, Eve is amazing at it and she's really helped me develop those skills, and I'm slowly starting to open up more, but bless her, it's not been easy for her. I'm very much like a classic guy. I'm a closed book. I don't really like to tell people when I'm feeling low because I feel like a burden, and I don't like to be that on people. But Eve is just out of this world. She brings out the best in me and I'm slowly getting better at opening up to her. Vane Slytherin, hey buddy, I hope you're doing well. Vane says, favourite game genre, least favourite game genre, and any plans to expand the Junkyard's repertoire, does that say? I'm quite dyslexic, I'm sorry. And how did you and Eve meet? Okay, let's get into this. My favourite game genre would be RPG. I love role-playing games. I have got such a vivid imagination. Games like Skyrim or Fallout, for example, I love all the missions, don't get me wrong, they're fun, but I can so easily just like spend 8 hours playing a video game and all I've done is roleplayed about how I've got out of bed, made breakfast, gone for a walk with the wife, all the really mundane stuff. Like I could totally just get up on Skyrim and farm for an entire day. I love role-playing games. My least favourite game genre would probably be racing games, to be honest. I find them incredibly frustrating. I don't mind doing the odd race in a game. It can break up the gameplay a bit and it can be fun to challenge yourself. But for the most part, a whole game solely focused on racing, that's my idea of hell. I think I'd get so frustrated. And a special shout out to the games where it's not a racing thing, it's completely different, but any game where you click, your character walks over, you tell your character to attack something and it's like, yeah, and it's like 10 damage done, 5 damage done, missed. I don't like that. I really don't. I like to be in control of my combat and like do really cool combos. How did I meet Eve? Now this is a really interesting story and I've told some of you guys before and you love it, so I'm going to tell it again. Sit back and relax. I'm about to paint you a lovely picture. I was driving through a town centre. I'm not going to say where, but a town centre, and I stopped at a red light and I looked to my right and I saw a beautiful lady stood there looking at me. And I'm like, oh, wow, geez, she is beautiful. But I thought nothing of it. Like, what can you realistically do when you're stuck at a red light? I carry on and I'm driving and I look in my mirror and I see this lady sprinting after the car. I've never seen speed like it. I'm like, whoa, I check how quick I'm going and it's like 40. And I'm like, hang on. She must be running at least 45 miles per hour. Anyway, I focus back on the road and boom, the car just stops. I'm like, what? Have I just crashed? This is a disaster. It turns out the lady I was looking at has grabbed the back of the car, stopped it with her bare hands. She's walked round to the window. I've rolled it down and I'm like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And she was like, yeah. I saw you at the red light. You're so handsome. I need to marry you. Turns out that girl was Eve and that's how we met. I'm kidding. We met on Hinge. There is no interesting story. We met on a dating app called Hinge. Eve actually nearly deleted the app and then I popped up and the rest is history. Oh, and expanding the Junkyard. Listen, something that was really important to me growing up was when I'm feeling low, or even just wanting to relax, I have certain things that I watch that make me feel safe. I want the Junkyard to be that place for people. I am massive on atmosphere and creating a safe environment where people just feel like they can hang out and relax. That is the priority for me. I think I'm striving towards that nostalgic content, whether it's games or toys that we used to play with. That's the kind of stuff I'm striving towards, and real life videos as well. Danielle! Hello Danielle, thank you so much for your question. You have said, what's a day in the life of Ezra look like? Also, hi, happy to be here and amongst like-minded 90s Harry Potter fans, etc. It's amazing having you here. Thank you for discovering the Junkyard. A day in the life. Okay, so I will describe to you what happens on a typical weekday for Ezra. I wake up at 6 a.m. and between the hours of 6 and 7, that is me time. I do whatever I want to do, whether that's just sitting with a coffee and relaxing or editing a video. Then, no matter what happens throughout my day, no matter how stressful it gets, at least I've had that hour at the beginning of the day to do what I wanted and I feel less resentful about everything else that happened that day. After that hour is over, obviously some breakfast, and then I check my calendar. Like I said to you guys, I'm a photographer. I have got an app on my phone that my bosses update. On that app, it tells me where to go, what to do, and what time to be there. So I just check that calendar, I hop in my car, and the adventure begins. I'm just out throughout the day taking photographs of the most beautiful places and not so beautiful sometimes if it's a little bit worse for wear and hasn't been lived in for years. I then get home, I send off all my work with notes, you know, just in case there was any issues at the job. Little Timmy had a piano lesson and I can't photograph that room, things like that. And then the evening is literally YouTube, whether that's filming, streaming or editing. Obviously on other days I've got a beautiful girlfriend that I see. I love sport, so I'm either at the gym or running or doing something like that. And then I wash and go to bed and repeat, and that is my life. Tammy, what's up, bro? I don't know what your actual name is, so I'm just going to call you Tammy because I spot it at the end of your name there. You have got 4 questions, so I'm going to go through them one by one. First of all, I'm a foodie. I love to eat. What is your favourite food and what is your favourite dessert? My favourite food, and I don't get to eat it often, is probably Indian food, just because there's so many variables. And on top of that, I love how they treat you when you go to an Indian restaurant. The staff are so unbelievably friendly and accommodating. I just love it. Friendly dessert is apple crumble, purely nostalgic reasons through my grandma and my granddad. How were you first introduced to Pokemon? I was first introduced to Pokemon through the TV show at the back end of the 90s. You know, that original OG first wave of Pokemon. Same goes for the Pokemon cards. I was a kid at school when they first started to boom. I had that little blue collector's book that you could stick all your Pokemon cards in. And yeah, it was crazy at my school. So yeah, I was lucky. I was part of that original wave where it just took off. What was your first Pokemon game? For me, it was Yellow, the special Pikachu edition. This is my first ever Pokemon game, and I'm going to keep this forever. And look at the condition it's still in. It's an unbelievable condition. I'm dead proud of it. It is Pokemon Ruby version, and I saved up. This is the first game I ever saved up my money to buy myself. It was 30 quid, I think, and my mum took me to WH Smith's, and I'll never forget the feeling of actually buying it for myself. I have got amazing memories playing this in my parents' conservatory because I think you needed quite good light to be able to see your Game Boy Advance screen. And then later on I got a Game Boy Advance SP. In fact, it's over here, let me show you. This one here, this Game Boy Advance SP. A few years later, I got this, and it's got this little button here which allowed you to turn the screen light on and on so you could play it in the dark. It was amazing. So yeah, that was my introduction to it. Who is your favourite Pokemon of all time? You already know mine, Blastoise. At least give me your top 5. Okay, this is so difficult to do. It's basically anything Generation 1, but I'll give you a top 5. Arcanine, Gengar, Butterfree, Pichu, and Mew. Those 5 for me are probably the top, but anything from Generation 1 just makes my heart sing. Gonga! Good to see you, buddy. Gonga says, Q&A time, love it. What were your first steps getting into photography? Great question. I actually got into photography through school. I did it at A-level purely because I am not academic in the slightest, and staying on and doing photography was the easiest option, I'm going to be honest with you. And taking photos seemed like something that would be really fun. My granddad and dad were also keen photographers. They did it as a hobby. And I feel like I just naturally had that eye. Anyway, once people knew I did photography at A-level, they started asking me to do things, and it all snowballed from there. I did events, I did sports, I did artistic stuff. I entered the Guildford photography competition in Surrey and I won it. So that's how I got into photography, Gonga. Talk a little bit about, if you remember, the very first few collectibles that you had as a kid. Okay, so they're not collectibles as such, but I've got them down here. I was a kid when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out, so naturally I just had all of the toys from that kind of era. So, I mean, let me get these out. We've got Loads of prequel Jedis here, if you can see that. I was very lucky. My parents used to take me to the toy shop probably once a month or maybe even once a week, and I would be able to pick out a Star Wars toy to buy. I still have all of them till this day, and I've even got like the bigger figures like these. So these were really my introduction into toys. It was stuff from like 1999 and the Phantom Menace. If you could only pick one game and one console in a deserted island, what would it be? This is quite an easy answer for me, and I think I've mentioned it in multiple live streams, but it would have to be Skyrim on PlayStation 5, purely because there is so much to do. You would never run out of things to do, and on top of that, I've got such a vivid imagination. I could say to myself, right, I'm gonna wake up, I'm going to walk 10 kilometers across the map, I'm going to have lunch here, I'm going to walk home and sleep, and that would be my day's gaming. Like, I've got the kind of personality and imagination that could roleplay and do that. So yeah, 100% I'm taking Skyrim with me with a PS5. PS, bonus thing, if you have the time, if you had any budget ever and all the tools and people to do it, what story would you create, direct and produce, either in a game or a movie? Anything is possible. Okay, so I would probably make a game, and it would be a Skyrim, Hogwarts Legacy, GTA style game, but in the Star Wars universe or the Lord of the Rings universe. You know, no limits, you can do anything you want, customization to the max, massive open world where you could go to like 3 or 4 different planets if we're talking Star Wars. Like, that's the sort of game I would create for sure. I've always fantasized over that. I don't think I would do a movie, not without some proper thought into it, but maybe if I had like a mental health charity, perhaps I'd make a really thought-provoking documentary about it, something that really made people think. Hey guys, sorry if this looks any different. I had a little sandwich break and I had to charge the camera, so I had to frame everything up again. I've got a few questions from Dan now. Dan says, in all of your time as a sports photographer, do you have a particular favourite basketball photo that you've ever taken? For sure, there's a few that come to mind. Basically, anywhere I've caught a dunk or a really significant piece of action. I was also really into catching that raw emotion, you know, someone celebrating. But the main one that comes to my head is probably the first one I ever got in a newspaper. Admittedly, it's just a local newspaper, but to see my photo in there with my name underneath just made me feel so unbelievably proud. So it probably has to be that one. Why are you so handsome? I'm going to have to put a screenshot of this up because people are going to think I wrote this myself. Thank you, by the way. Do you have a favourite Lord of the Rings character? What a question. I do. And you know what it is? I think a lot of it is inspired by the fact that, and don't laugh, when I first watched Lord of the Rings, I was a kid. And it was quite dark compared to anything I'd watched before. I found it quite scary, I'll be honest. Like, I found Lord of the Rings really creepy. The way the music would play, and you knew you were going down into Isengard to see the Uruk-hai being made, and you knew every time that music played, you were kind of in for something scary going to be on the screen. So it was people who relieved that from me. So I found a lot of comfort in Gimli. His humour made me feel so much better, and I loved Haldir. You know that elf from Lothlorien who comes during the Battle of Helm's Deep with all of his elves? I remember the lead up to that battle being quite scary and anxiety provoking. You know, they're trapped in the corner with tens of thousands of Uruk-hai coming towards them. So when Haldir turned up with his little squad of elves, it felt amazing, and I just thought he was so cool. So probably for those reasons, because they took the edge off of it a little bit, I would say Gimli and Haldir. What made you pick Herugrim as your first Lord of the Rings sword? I didn't bloody want it, I'll be honest with you. I wanted an elven sword, but they were all sold out, so I bought this one. And it was back in the days where everything was a lot more relaxed and chilled out. So this got delivered to my front door in a sword-shaped parcel by the Royal Mail. Times have really changed, haven't they? Don't get me wrong though, this sword is beautiful and I love it, but I always wanted an elven sword, you know, one of those lovely curved ones. Fisher! Hey Fisher. Fisher says, who have been your inspirations, life in general as well as YouTube? So I don't actually have any YouTube inspirations. I've had certain videos that have inspired me and motivated me to do better in my life, but I wouldn't say anyone in particular has inspired me. My main inspirations are family and my partner and friends. So I would say my granddad was a huge inspiration to me. He fought in World War II. He was incredibly strong. He was incredibly kind. And I looked up to him so much, and I still think about him every single day. My mum is a massive inspiration to me. She is incredible and has the most beautiful heart. And my dad is a massive inspiration to me as well. I actually worked at a garden centre for 5 years, and my dad was one of the bosses there. He was head of finance. I still get people messaging me today saying, oh, I was going through a lot of troubles when I worked at the garden centre, and I went to your dad and he was amazing. I saw my dad in a different light. Like, I saw him in work mode and how human he was to people and how he wanted to help people even if it wasn't his job to. And that's something that I've definitely taken into my own life and something I aspire to be like. Eve, my partner, is a massive inspiration to me. She has really helped me develop as a person. And Fisher, actually, you have been a massive inspiration and really influential on me in my teenage years. You found me when I didn't really have a friend group. I was stuck in between two friends groups and I didn't feel like I was close to anyone. The way you interacted with me and the way you spoke to me and how you actually cared about me and what I was up to and how you invited me to do things, I realised pretty much my entire time at secondary school I had no one like that. You made me realise what an actual friend should be like. So yeah, thank you for that. You're definitely someone who's inspired and influenced me as well. Marky boy, hello Mark, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for all your support on the channel, by the way. You are incredible. Marky boy says, how did you and Gonga Gonk, Super Gonk meet? So, Gonga actually came into one of my Star Wars Phantom Menace PS1 streams and he never left ever since. He has been a constant support. Gonga has never missed a video. He's never missed a live stream. On top of that, he has massively helped with the Discord and also helped me set up the chat with Ezra streams. We've had many video calls and I'm forever grateful for Gonga and everything he's done for the channel. So yeah, thank you Gonga. Brandon the Awesome, hope you're doing well buddy, good to see you. You have said, thoughts on the current state of the gaming industry, what with the obsessive need to interject woke politics into everything, as well as a high focus on remakes and remasters. So as for the woke stuff, that is not something I will ever cover on the channel. It's not something I'm interested in. This channel is inclusive and a home for absolutely anyone. I don't care who you are, what you are, as long as you're not out there committing crimes and killing people, you're welcome here on the Junkyard. As for the remakes and the remasters, I love that part of the question because I am a massive fan of remakes and remasters. It has been huge for me on this channel, what with Jedi Power Battles and the Phantom Menace. So yeah, I personally love them and I've had amazing fun being able to access them now on my PS5. So yeah, I personally really love the remakes and remasters. So I've got a couple of questions here that are a little bit similar, so I'm going to read them together. First, we've got Jedi Gamer who says, would you ever play VR games and GameCube games for a stream in the future? And then we've got Luca who says, are you going to play any GTA games? GTA 3 and San Andreas are my personal favourites. Thank you to both of you for those questions. I really appreciate it. I see it as a massive, massive compliment when you guys ask me to play different games on the channel because I assume you've seen these games played before. I assume you've even played these games before, but for whatever reason, you want to watch me playing them and see my reaction. So that's like the biggest compliment anyone could ever give me. The answer to both of those is yes, of course, if we have time. On a side note, GTA San Andreas is a game that's incredibly close to my heart. I still remember being 12 or 13 and playing it around my sister's boyfriend's house and coming home to my dad and being like, I need this game, we have to get it, it's so fun. And my dad was like, oh, well, it's an 18, I better ask my sister's boyfriend if it's okay for me to get it and if it's suitable for you. And obviously my sister's boyfriend was like, no, absolutely not. So I thought there was no hope whatsoever of me ever getting it. A few weeks down the line, I go upstairs to my bedroom and GTA San Andreas is on my pillow on my bed. And yeah, you can imagine how happy I was. I couldn't believe it and I couldn't wait to get started. Kane! Hello Kane, it's been really good getting to know you recently. You have said, are you interested in analysis and the deeper meanings behind video games and films, even down to the symbolism and what film/game is trying to say on the deepest level? If so, do you have any examples of your favourites? I love listening to these kind of things and how they reflect on philosophies of life. What a question! The answer to that is absolutely. You will probably notice in a lot of my videos and streams, I actually take a minute just to slow down and I announce to everyone, okay, I'm going to be quiet here because we really need to appreciate what's going on the screen, whether that's ambience, whether that's a beautiful bit of speech or a lovely bit of music. I make sure we take the time to soak it all in. It's so important. It's not all about action, action, action. I massively appreciate things on a deeper level. Like, I am a massive deep thinker to a fault. So I really do look out for those kinds of things. Games, at the end of the day, are pieces of art and they need to be appreciated. Eve, for example, is playing through Life is Strange at the moment, and she has told me multiple times how moving that game is and how it makes her feel. Like, how beautiful is that? I would also say Ghost of Tsushima for me has really helped me grow as a person and just slow down and appreciate all of the beauty around me, you know, through nature and other bits and pieces. I even attach a deeper meaning to the older games we play. Star Wars on PS1 or Harry Potter on PlayStation 1. When I'm within the four walls of those games, nothing can touch me. I feel so safe. The deeper meaning behind them is I played them when I was a kid and I was incredibly free living and happy and didn't have all the stresses. When I am back in those games, I feel like that again, and that is powerful. So yes, Kane, absolutely. This is a whole video topic in itself. JMC, hey buddy. JMC says, which countries have you been to and which countries would you like to visit? Where have I been? I've been to Scotland, Spain, Turkey, Denmark, Austria. Trying to think if there's anywhere else. It will probably come to me. As for places I want to go, I really struggle with this topic and it's something I really need to work on. I am someone who keeps letting the financial stresses really bring me down. Like, I worry about my mortgage, I worry about things happening to my car, I worry about unexpected bills, and I tend to lose sight of spending money on the fun things, and I tend to reserve my money for a rainy day. So the thought of spending money going away a lot of the time can really panic me, and it's something I need to work on because I want to travel and see places with Eve, but I get really defensive when it comes to talking about it. Anyway, that being said, I would love to go to Japan, and then bit of a geeky one, but I would absolutely love to go to some of the locations where some of my favourite movies are set. I want to stand in the places where they were filmed and just feel that energy. So yeah, that would be it for me. Giovanni, Dr. Giovanni, how are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. You have said, right, here are my questions. Ezra, since June of 2024, I have watched your growth and it has been phenomenal to see the salubrious transformation of the man you have become in such a short time. With that growth, I have seen your confidence skyrocket to the summits. But if I may ask, how? How have you managed to gain such a healthy boost of confidence? Support from loved ones, family, Eve, friends here on YouTube perhaps? How has it changed, influenced and shaped you, your life, work, relationship with Eve? Would love to hear your candid response. Thank you, Giovanni. I have covered a lot of that in Nightwing's question at the beginning of the video, so I won't go back and repeat myself, but what I will say is YouTube has 100% helped with my confidence. Of course it has. This is a place where I can actually be myself, and people like yourself appreciate it and like the same things I like. In turn, that gives me confidence. On top of that, my relationship with Eve, like Eve has brought out a side of me that I just didn't know existed. It is the first relationship I've ever been in where I can actually be myself. I don't have to hide any of my interests or hobbies. I can just be me. And if it wasn't for Eve, I wouldn't have made this YouTube channel. I wouldn't have had the confidence to have made this YouTube channel. So on top of what I said in Nightwing's comment, I will also say Eve has been a massive help, as have you guys on YouTube. Asma and the gang. Hello guys, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for your constant support on the channel too. You have said, hello Ezra, Asma's eldest son H here. And yes, I do indeed have a question for you. Well, it is more of a request than a question. Ooh. I wrote something about you and I need your help and the Junkyardians' help to get it published. I respectfully request that what I wrote receives the recognition that it so richly deserves, since I have discovered just how much you and your channel has helped me through some deeply troubling times. You are relatable and you're a positive influence to everyone who is lucky enough to come across your channel. I feel like we could have been great friends in school or university. We share a lot of similarities and an affinity for nostalgia. This is basically a trailer for my channel. Thank you so much for this so far. It's lovely. Now here is what I wrote about you. Ezra, who recently found much success on YouTube, is not just a product of jolly old England, he is also a product of our community's burgeoning nostalgic scene. The young man from Surrey is a delightful person, mawkishly sentimental like me, and a great affable friend indeed. He cares for every member on the channel and expects nothing in return because he puts 100% of his heart and soul all of the time. He gives without any thought of reward. Bonus points if you recognise the quote / get that reference. At heart though, he is genuine and a good friend. When it comes to his channel, which has become a safe haven for all appreciate of the power of nostalgia, he is all business but enjoys having a brilliant time with the Junkyardians. Ezra has extremely high standards when it comes to 90s and 2000s paraphernalia, toys and video games, chief among them, as he should. We all should. I know I do. Embrace your inner child. He is an extraordinary person and a mentor to many, and he is still so young. He has accomplished a lot in the short time we have been subscribed to his channel. He overcame his personal struggles and adversity to living life going forward with his head held high. Ezra radiates positive energy. He possesses infectious laughter. He spreads joy and mirth. He provides moral instruction. And he shows a humbling, oh here we go, benevolence, I think. 2. His good nature's, amiability is notable as well. He is known for his wit, humour, character, disposition, erudition, and his tremendous affectionate social skills. I am proud to see his growth, and I am honoured to be a small supportive player of the Junkyard. Thank you, Ezra. You take care, good friend. I'm sorry that I'm laughing. I am such a bad reader. I struggle so badly, and that is so beautifully written and has words in there that I don't think I've ever said before. Thank you so much for that. That is just the sweetest thing I've ever read, and I'm so sorry for butchering it. I'm going to try and cut that up for you guys so it's a little bit nicer for you guys to listen to. But yeah, you're making me blush, and I don't even know what to say other than I'm really grateful for you writing that. Thank you. Right guys, that is it. Thank you so much to those of you who sent in the questions. Let me know if you want me to do this again. I had an amazing time making this. Really hope you enjoyed my answers and this was interesting for you. Thank you for watching, and please take good care of yourselves. I will see you soon.